My world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am what I am.
Good afternoon and welcome to Dublin City FM, where you're listening to LGBTQ Live with myself, Mick FitzGerald.
Here's your mic on.
Sorry, Duncan. Don't worry, I'll put that on myself. I can put the theme music on, and I can put the relatively put the intro on as well. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. Okay, let's start again, shall we? Oh, that'd be a good idea, wouldn't it? Switch off our phones.
Yeah, mine's off. Oh, no, mine's on plane mode. It's off as well.
Yep. Okay, are we live? Okay, hold on. Good afternoon and welcome to LGBTQ Life with myself, Mick FitzGerald, and today we are delighted to introduce you to a guest who is a newbie to LGBTQ Life, and it's our good mate Brew. Brew, welcome to LGBTQ Life.
What's going on? I love your theme song because, did you know, here's one thing, here's a nice tidbit of information. I was in La Cage Fall.
Were you?
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I had no idea what the movie was about, what the play was about.
Yeah.
You know, I was in the Olympia Theatre. This is, what year was that? 90 something, 94 I think it was. And then and they asked me to play a butler who thought he was a maid.
Okay.
And then I was like, what? And I never knew, because there was no birdcage back then. You know, it was literally La Cage Fall. And I was acting opposite Brian Merriman, who gave me his fair play to him.
A good friend of the programme.
Oh, yes, Brian is
Was
great.
Brian in La Cage Fall as well?
He was the star. Him and Tom Singleton. And it was so intimidating acting opposite these two big stars. Because even though, I know Brian is a mate, but then I was kind of like in fan mode because oh my god, it's Brian Merriman and Tom. So I was like, oh my god, I had to act opposite them.
Yeah.
And I came to the cast late, like 2 weeks before the show started, so I had to memorize a lot of stuff.
So was Brian Merriman a bit of a twink back then, because he's now, as we say, an elder of the LGBT community?
Wow, what is he? 40 at most?
He's a young lad.
Give or take.
He's still a gorgeous young man. Is our mate Brian? Of course, you. When I first met you. Was at the Winter Pride at the National Concert Hall.
Oh, that was an amazing experience.
And not only that, you finished off with the entire performers coming out and singing the very same song, did they not?
It wasn't.
It was the same
song.
song.
It was actually, because it was Brian Kennedy, Neve Kavanagh, I think your man Harrington, was there Paul Harrington? Is that his name?
Paul Harry, yes, but Swayze were there.
Yeah, Swayze. Oh, yeah, you know what happened, actually? When I went on stage, Swayze was actually meant to go on. Okay. And they announced it, because that's why there was a mix-up, and then they couldn't find them. And there I was, just, tweeting back there, I said, Eddie McGinnis like, can you go on instead? I'm like, yeah. And then shout out to Eddie McGinnis for including me into that. That first of all, National Concert Hall, what an experience.
Sensational, wasn't it?
Yeah, what a stage. Next time I need to bring it back. That stage was wasted on me.
Yeah. Well, no. People, and you'll be pleased to know that I've had a look at my ratings on the YouTube channel, and I think you were the fourth highest. Now, Brian eventually got the highest ratings.
What's so good about Brian Baru? I should have been up there.
And Mr. Pussy got second. No. Actually,
second.
It was Neve Kavanagh and Eddie's cousin.
Thingy. What's her name again? Sorry, it come back to me.
But wasn't she fabulous?
Yeah, I'd never think that was her first time singing.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, put it this way. She really did make a memorable impression, didn't she?
Yeah, but how come I want to sing with Neve?
Yeah. No. Look, it was a great night overall, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was an amazing night. First of all, the idea about a winter pride, because I think Pride here is, Pride around the world is normally during the summer, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah.
So when they called me kind of like, I think 2 weeks before the event, do you want to perform? Because I had performed at Eddie McGinnis's The Outing in County Clare.
You got down to that one. Was that?
Oh, that was amazing. I was like, wow, the castle.
Was it Liston and Varna, or was it?
No, I pronounced it wrong. I call it Dromoland. I pronounced it.
Dromoland.
Dromoland. Is this Dromoland? I said, you poxy Yankee, you have no clue. Tromoland.
Well, no, I was interested to find out how you actually got that gig because Eddie and I we know each other quite well.
Yeah.
And I thought you were a great addition to it. You were.
Oh, thanks.
And of course we have a couple of friends, which is Deanna and Erin.
Yes, I know them.
From Dear Bertrand. And
Erin's an amazing bassist.
Isn't she just?
And Deanna's got a voice to absolutely kill for. I hope she performs at the next Winter Pride or the next outing because Deanna's voice is just phenomenal. She's like our little Beyonce almost, but or Whitney Houston.
Well, I always see her as a bit Weimar. The Weimar Republic, she wouldn't have been out of place in Berlin in the 30s. She has that.
She has that look as well. She's just a very sweet woman, and I'd like to see her perform. She needs to go because when she sings, she's almost like Barbra Streisand. This very kind of
a presence, isn't it?
A presence, and this so in touch with her craft. I mean, I'm sloppy at my craft. I'm in rock and roll. You see, so you're supposed to be sloppy, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I have to ask you, Brew, because I cover the Dublin Pride on an annual basis. I go to the festival or the entertainment afterwards. You haven't been there as yet, would you?
No.
If Eddie was to come along and say, Brew, can you sing in Marion Square next year? Would you?
Well, actually, it's funny. We my band actually played Pride main stage, and then I think I headlined Pride. Well, I think headlined in the sense I went on last. But the first time we played, I brought the band.
Okay, when was that?
They wanted some bands. I think that was.
Was that in Marion Square?
In Marion Square, yeah. Okay. It was. I think 2012, maybe 2013, somewhere there, somewhere in the mid-tweens, whatever.
Yeah.
And we played. I had to rock the kip, as I say.
Well,
that's when I first met Neve Kavanagh.
Okay. Yeah. Well, now that they've got it in the park, it's it's a younger audience, and I think they'd love your they'd love your performance.
Yeah. Well, if we can bring the band again, Yeah, well, they need a butch element to the show.
Well, I had several people come to me after it, including our mutual friend Ren Dennehy and the girls from the women from Zrazy and another.
I remember Zrazy back in the day.
They said to me, can you have a word with Eddie, so we can perform at Pride? And because I said, why aren't you at Pride? And they said, because we were never asked. So I did
asked,
they
really?
were never. Well, they haven't been asked for 20 years, and I said, I will have a word with Eddie. So I put on a few acts the other a couple of weeks ago, saying these are acts that should be included in Pride.
Right. Okay.
Because. Drag queens and dancers, they're all very good, but we like a bit of music too.
Yeah, it's about the music. I think it's 50-50, 50% drag queens and 50% the music. And I'm surprised they let rockers in, so that's kind of cool. And so I get to rock out and I'm like, hey, all right, you artists, is this too butch for you? Said, no, dude, you drive a Mini, you're not butch. What's going on there? I mean, I feel butch when I switch the gears and stuff.
Of course you do. Of course you do. Tell us, for the benefit of the audience who hasn't experienced Brew, you're from the accent we know. You're from New York.
New York, but I've been living here 30 years. In fact, I'm living in Dublin longer than I've been living in America.
Okay.
So I'm one of you guys now.
The usual question is, what brought you here? Was it love, or was it
No. Well, here's what it really was.
Was it a bounty hunter?
I don't know. It was Mom shaking me to wake me up and said, "Guess what? We're sending you to Europe today," because I was a lazy sod. So she basically wanted me to get off my arse and get a job. So she said, "Well, we're sending you to London on a one-way ticket. Okay. So if you want to come back home, you have to get a job
and work
and save your pennies and get a ticket and come back." And then the second argument was, don't come back when you're somebody. So needless to say, I never came back. So I guess I'm a nobody. I don't know.
You're working in the public service. I mean, most musicians would dream about what a public servant earns.
I'm telling you, but Dublin was never in the plan originally. It was meant to be London, and then I lost my job in London, right? Yeah. And not like you can hear the Dublin accent coming out now. We're on the north side now. And a friend of mine said, come to Dublin for a weekend. And a 3-day weekend turned into over 20 years.
Doesn't it? It has. I came back here because my mother had a stroke, and I thought I'd be here. That was a long time ago. Yeah. And I thought I'd be here for 18 months, and that was 25 years ago now. It's not that I find it compellingly attractive, but it does have a way of saying, this is okay.
Yeah, well, Dublin is full. I was saying this at the last interview, but it's full. Dublin is a place full of characters.
Yeah.
But sadly we're losing that, and hopefully we can get the old Dublin back. Every pub, every street corner, you met quintessential Dubliners that just knew the sus on everything. You know what I mean? And it was great. You learn more about that than reading a book or visiting Molly Malone statue.
Well, it's an interesting one because I grew up here and then I left when I was 20, and I say to people, what do you prefer, Old Moore Street or New Moore Street? Because Moore Street was the quintessential Dublin. Now, I'm unashamed. I like the New Moore Street because it's much more multicultural, it's much more colourful, and it's different.
But see, when I first came here, it wasn't multicultural.
No, it wasn't. It would have been very...
I was the only one. So wherever I went, I never bought a pint.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, "Hey, how are your butter?" It was welcoming. There was no racism. None of that bollocks was going on. It was all very kind of a curiosity, and I'm happy to say I never felt any kind of racist undertones back then. Never.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I grew up at a time when the only two people of colour you met were Phil Lynott, who everybody knew and everybody adored, and another guy called... Oh, very much so, much so, and and another guy called Dave Murphy, and Dave.
Oh, I know Dave. Yeah,
Dave was a really
blues guy. Yeah.
Yeah, he used to do a lot of Richie Havens and that sort of thing. In the we're talking late '80s, early '70s, or late '60s, early '70s, and Dave was like, he was the alternative Phil Lynott, but everybody. But I've never heard a bad word say about Dave.
Yeah.
And,
well, actually, I think now that you mention his name, I think the College of Fall. I think he was meant to play the part that I ended up playing.
Okay.
And then I think he had to drop out, and then Brian Merriman kind of saw me walking around Grafton Street and said, "Oh, you'd make a good Jackal, Claudine." And again, I had no idea what they were talking about. And then I walked into the first rehearsal, and everyone's like, and everybody kind of knew me. Why is everybody looking at me? Well, it's obvious which character you're going to play. Like, I probably had to be a dark-skinned French guy. And I can't speak French to save me life. Like, you know what I mean? It's like,
you can say je ne sais quoi. La plume de ma tante. Double entendre.
Yes, triple entendre in my case. I don't know, but
Anyway, Brew, we're gonna play a piece of music. You've got a new single out here. Tell the audience about it. What's it called?
Okay.
Where can they get it more to the point?
This is my first ever solo single. Okay. I know it sounds hard to believe. Yep. I usually play in a band called Blue Sun, and it's called New Direction. It was recorded in Ballier.
In Ballymun?
Yeah, no, Ballyfermot.
Ballyfermot, that's the other Ballier, isn't it?
Just which one's better? I don't know. Depending on side of the river you're on.
Go
Ballymun, way!
They're individual. That's all
exactly.
Say, yeah.
So I worked with Ray Traynor, who does the script, Aslan, One Republic. Yeah. So I knew him about 3-4 years, and we've been talking about this idea of a single. We thought, and I picked this song that I had from years ago when I was 19 called New Direction. Okay. And he said, that's so funny because you're going solo. You want a new sound, and it's ironic your single just happens to be called New Direction. Yeah. So this is New Direction, and it's going to be on Spotify. It's released 28th of February, so you can pre-save now, all you Spotify heads. I'm trying to get it on vinyl myself.
Of course. Yeah.
Or maybe cassette. That'd be really cool. I'm trying my age now. Nah, impossible.
Okay, let's hear it. This is Brew with New Direction.
Now I want a new direction now. What is it to love? What it is to feel so in love? What is it to know how I feel for you now? I want a new direction now. I want a new direction now. What is it to feel wanted? What it is to know that I'm wanted?
Okay, bro. Now you're happy with your single, then?
Yeah, it sounds amazing because it doesn't sound anything like what I normally write or do with the band. The sound's completely different, and even the band members commented, "Wow, that's a different sound, a different side of you that we've never heard." And but again, it's due to the production and the players. Because the last thing we want to do was bring in my regular band, because we'll just sound like it'll be just another Blue Sun song.
Yeah.
You know, so we thought we'd make this a breakthrough single. But see, I've been Blue Sun like 20 years. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So it's like I thought this would be the perfect time to try something branch out. I mean, we're not over yet, but it's just a case of like, just keep,
So what happens if Louis Walsh comes along and says, "Brew, I'm going to make you a star"? Is that the end of the public service?
Louis Walsh, he'd be lucky. Yeah, Actually, I've met him a few times. Actually,
I think most people have
he's a nice guy. I've been to his hometown, Kilchima.
Kilchima, they actually call it.
Kilchima.
Kilchima. Yeah, that's what it's called. But it's not
it's all the same muckland to me.
No, yeah, but well, look, Louis done well for himself. We're not going to argue that.
No, fair. I mean, I'm open to offers. I mean, because really, people like Louis Walsh and that ilk, what can they bring to the table? Yeah. And that's what I always say to anybody. I wouldn't just say no to them just because of because they all can bring something that can make me advance to the next level.
It's an industry, isn't it?
Yeah,
you have to understand that.
Yeah, but he has to get me as well. It's not like it's not like I mean, Westlife, they're all well and good, but this is, I'm in rock and roll, and we're a bit sleazier and
a bit more real, as we say. In that sense.
Yeah, we keep it real, and that's why I was kind of surprised. You want me in Pride? Are you sure you want me in Pride? But it was cool though. I mean, again, because the face of people in the scene are changing, so you got people that like different styles of music. It's not all about Kylie Minogue anymore.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Dublin's LGBT scene. When I came back here, I found it quite different because I've been so used to the scene in Sydney, which is a bit like San Francisco. It's very in your face, it's very big, and at times it's perhaps a bit prescriptive. But Dublin, when I came back here, I thought, oh, this is unbelievable. It's like a village. It's like everybody.
Very small.
It's very small. Yeah. You really were only about 2 dates away from an ex. And what I found really surprising, particularly when I came back here in the mid-90s, the lesbians used to talk to the gay men, and that didn't happen in Sydney, I can assure you. So it was very, it was a very much what we would call a global village thrown in there.
Well, Dublin by nature it's almost like a town pretending to be a city.
Yeah.
Or a town with a city feel. Yet you know everybody.
Yeah.
It's not like London where you never see the same person twice ever.
Yeah.
Here, no matter where I go in this town, I could be way out in Clondalkin, I could be way out in Newcastle somewhere.
You'll always meet somebody.
Always meet somebody. It's hard for me to hide.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you remember the movie? Was it 3 Degrees of Separation? Well, I think it's or 6 Degrees of Separation.
Yeah.
So I think it's about 2 or 3 degrees of separation here.
I suppose it's different people in the scene, and you have this. It's a close community.
Yeah.
It can be very incestuous, I suppose. It can be very bitchy at the same time because it's smaller.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? But I don't know. It's a new generation now, so I don't know. They're all to me, they're all like glee heads. So this younger generation, they just don't. They almost don't respect what has happened before. They don't realize.
They don't really understand it.
They choose not to understand it. That's what it is, I think.
Yeah. Well, the impression I get is that a lot was being handed on a plate, so they've never had to struggle the way my generation and your generation.
The entitled generation.
The entitled generation. It's a good way of putting it, isn't it?
I mean, and some of them are pretty cool, but let's face it, I cannot rock them any day of the week.
No,
and they know it, and I know it.
Yeah.
Because I see ignorance cannot be bliss.
Yeah.
There are reasons why you have certain freedoms today, and they have to respect the people before them that fought for their freedoms that they enjoy today.
Yeah.
And that to me is just basic respect.
Yeah. Well, the other bit as well is it's interesting, and I remember saying this to a couple of young guys at Pride about 10 years ago. I said, don't ever take your freedoms for granted, because they can be taken away at the stroke of a pen, as the people in Germany in the LGBT community in Germany in the 30s had discovered. They you can get a government comes in who just does not like this culture, and that's it. At the stroke of a pen.
Yeah, there are countries like that are still like that. You can
absolutely.
be executed, you can be lashed 1,000 times and then executed.
Yeah.
It's just like this is some real this. I never understood it myself. I don't know why is it anybody's business who they sleep with? I mean,
Yeah,
I sleep with my guitar. Nobody seems to care.
Well,
so what does that make me then? You know, okay.
Yeah, well, I'm a bit.
Am I deviant?
Yeah, I'm a bit more like Yoko. I sleep alone.
I sleep
My
alone.
dreams.
That's it. You know, life hasn't changed for me. I'm married to the guitar, it seems,
Yeah.
but there's
That's the way it should be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Now, tell me, and this is something I found interesting when we met at the driver gig. You were saying you were very big and influenced by Chrissie Hynde.
Oh,
How
I
did that come-
met Chrissie Hynde.
Yeah, how did that come
Pretenders.
about? Yeah.
Well, back in the day, my first concert was the Pretenders, and that's changed my life forever.
They were a band, weren't they?
Yeah, they're still going. And Chrissie,
Yeah.
and she looks great. I mean, it's just I'm still rocking. She's like nearly 68 or whatever.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, man, it's even more powerful than before. And it's just like I met her at the Vinyl Festival in Royal Kilmainham Hospital, and I just decided, you know, to hell with it. Let's just bite the bullet and just say hi to her.
Yep.
We talked for 20 minutes.
Yeah,
And I was telling you about my band, Blue Sun, because my Dublin band is named after one of her songs.
Okay. Yeah.
And I was Scarlet. She said, I can't remember that one. And then I sang for Chrissie Hynde, Scarlet. Oh God, please don't crack my voice.
Well,
You know.
for anybody who wasn't there, she was a babe in the day, wasn't
Yeah,
she?
she's still
Still is,
on.
yeah, she
Yeah,
still looks pretty
you'd
good.
never think she's a granny. You wouldn't think
No.
it. I mean, and still got a mouth on her, and just really, you know, a force of nature. But she's one of those pioneers, if you think, you know, women in rock kind of thing, you know. And it's just like if it weren't for her, there would be no, you know, Katy Perry and Shirley Manson and all these people, because she came out of a time where
Very few were there, weren't
yeah,
they?
men ruled rock and roll, not women.
Yeah,
You know,
and,
so-
and more to the point, unlike a lot of the bands, she's still alive.
Yeah, exactly. So you're doing something right, you know. And then,
Yeah.
so I take my inspiration from that. So, in fact, yeah, Chrissie had a solo record, so I figured, okay, I'll have a solo record.
Why not? Why not?
Let's copy her trajectory,
Yeah.
and she's American as well.
Absolutely, yeah. I think we're Akron,
Ohio,
Akron, Ohio is somewhere
Yeah,
I've heard.
I heard it's a right kip though.
Yeah.
Jeez, I was
Well, Devo is always the other band that came out of there.
she was in a band with your man Mark Mothersbaugh from Devo.
Yeah.
And the Black Keys, they're also the Dan Auerbach. He's from Akron.
The rubber capital of the world.
Yeah, Rubber City. I'm
Yeah.
thinking of going there this summer for the crack, just to see what it's like.
Just to buy a suit.
yeah, bulletproof vest, probably. I don't know.
Tell me now, bro, you've got a couple of gigs coming up. Share that with the listeners,
Yes,
because
well.
I am sure they want to go and see you.
Well, you've heard the new single.
I have.
Hey, so we have the single launch, the live launch. It's in Grand Social on Leap Year, Saturday the 29th.
That's
8
in
o'clock.
Liffey Street, is it?
Yeah, the Grand Social, the downstairs bit of Grand Social.
Okay, yeah.
It used to be Pravda. Remember Pravda?
Yeah.
by Dublin Mills. Yeah, so where it's going to be the downstairs bit. A $5 in, 3 bands for a $5.
That's
Can't go
pretty,
wrong.
pretty good.
I'm keeping it real, nice and cheap. I'm cheap.
Yeah.
I'm from the old
So
Dublin.
what's the date?
29th of February, Leap Year.
Okay, and what day is that?
That's a
Is it?
Saturday.
That's a
Saturday
Saturday?
night.
Okay,
And
yeah.
3 bands. We had Jackrabbit Slims, Thick as Thieves, and the likes of me.
Yeah.
I'll be playing with the band though, and then,
Okay.
you know, so that's the big launch of New Direction, and it'll be the first time the song's ever played or performed live ever.
Okay, well that's something to
know,
look forward to. Now you're
so-
going to play us out with a song. Do tell us all about that.
Well, I think I'll play one of my breakthrough songs for the band.
Okay.
I think it's probably one of the first songs I wrote in Dublin.
Okay.
Called Some Way, and this kind of made Blue Sun, my current band, you know, sort of famous. I don't know. I still feel like a bum, so I don't know.
Yeah.
So this is Some Way. You ready?
Yep.
Let's
go.
get rock.
What's
Here
it
you go.
called?
Some Way.
Some Way. This is. Let's give it an introduction. Give it up for Some Way by Brew.
The destiny of change is surely close at hand. The fences we could mend, to which there's no end. This can't be the end. Some way I will have you. Some way I will show you, 'cause I want to hold you, love you day by day. Some way. Embark upon a path that sends you round the world. New rising round the bend, to which says no end. This can't be the end. Some way I will have you. Some way I will show you. 'Cause I want to hold you, love you day by day. Some way. Oh, that's from the LGBT airwaves. Here we go. Never say goodbye. Hello, Mix. Can't seem to change my mind. My heart is not on land. The feeling won't end. We won't be the end. Some way I will have you. Some way I will show you. 'Cause I want to hold you, love you day by day, some way. Hey, some way, Dublin, yeah. Let's rock it out now.
Yes,
that
is the great sounds of Brew. And if you thought
somewhere.
Brew sounded good on radio, he's even better alive and with charisma to burn. Brew, the date is the 29th of
29th of February. Leap year.
Leap year as well,
4
yeah.
years.
So the ladies can come along and propose as well.
No, I won't hold my breath. Nobody proposes to me because they say I'm married to a piece of wood.
Exactly.
This is always
well,
hard.
You always need wood.
This is always hard.
As we say, you always need wood. Anyway, I just want to thank Brew for joining us in the studio.
Thanks for having me.
Duncan for doing such a fabulous...
Duncan, you rock. Duncan rocks.
For doing such a fabulous job on the mixing desk. I'm Mick Fitz. I'll be back in a week's time. You take care.
My world that I want to have a little pride in. My world, and it's not a place I have to hide in. Life's not worth a damn till you can say I am.